Whatever did happen to those toy characters you saw in the back of packaging, but never ended up in your toy store? Ever wondered how many toys make it into stores out of all the toys and concepts created for a line? Just because you have the hottest property in pop culture or the next hit movie does not mean you will be shipping next Christmas season. In this Ed's Retro Geek Out, we go even further down the rabbit hole that is the announced yet cancelled and forgotten toys. From English folklore to superhero millionaires, you have to roll the dice just right or the Dungeon Master kicks you out of the game. So be sure to subscribe for more 80s and 90s toy videos, and let's strap in for some toy history. You can't really think of the 90s without the cartoons of Spider-Man, X-Men, and apparently there was also an Iron Man cartoon. Our comic book heroes were back with a brand new animated series, and toys were sure to follow. Toy Biz ended up with the master license to produce all the action figures for Marvel. It helped that Marvel ended up partially owning Toy Biz. This allowed for the complete Marvel universe to be turned into action figures in every variation possible, and the Canadian company once known as Charan Toys up to '88 then turned into an American company and rebranded as Toy Biz, becoming synonymous with Marvel. But like with comics, some sold better than others, so they had to cut jobs. And for the Iron Man toy line back in 1995, it was the US agent who would get sacked from the drop of newly announced toys for Series 3 of Tony Stark's Companions. Originally, the next wave was 7 characters strong, but Toy Biz had him cut from the team as all of their assortments would hold 6 figures per wave, perhaps so they could evenly spread their shipping boxes that held 24 figures. With Marvel Toy Biz, there would always be a second chance for his sculpt, however, and his tooling would be modified to serve as a new, different figure. But this wasn't the end of our US agent, as apparently around 100 final approval samples were produced, and one was available to win through an Action Figure Digest contest. Now from the looks of it, he seems a very bare figure, also sporting a translucent shield, which could be used as a projectile thanks to a spring action tucked away in his wrists. These production samples would come in a plastic baggie, and that was supposed to be it for our US agent. Yet when we surfed the web for one, a lot of proof and sample cards seemed to be out there too for some reason. Released as special edition figures? So, was there a small run produced despite the figure never being officially released? Or did someone try to make some money and pretty much bootleg the figure and started shipping them out to the US in 1997? Was it part of an international promo, or was it really a foreign release? Whatever it wasn't authorized. Toy Biz decided to do their best to get this double agent taken out of service and confiscated where they could, but they kept flooding the market with this toy. Around Series 5 of Iron Man, the flooding of a new subline was cut before the wave was even in production, dubbed as the subline Armor Warriors. Facing even greater challenges from his enemies, Iron Man must continually improve his arsenal of weaponry. Now it's special clear glow detailed accessories. Here's the figures that didn't end up shipping. Dark Aegis with a mega missile launcher, Living Laser with his deflector shield and laser belt, and it seems like we've got a double agent here. Living Laser is actually a reworked US agent. They gave him a new head sculpt. That's where he officially was meant to go. Iron Man got even more variations in this line, starting with his lava armor with jackhammer ramming action, or his radiation armor with extension claw grabbing action. But wait, there's even more. A magnetic armor that came with a trap jaw missile. Now these armors would be interchangeable and could easily snap on. The 5-inch action figures were detailed with vac metal and translucent plastic to create the clear glow effect for the weapons. Due to poor sales, the Iron Man line came to an end, but the figures would get a second chance in the X-Men Mutant Armor series or the Spider-Man Techno Wars subline. Like Heavy Metal Beast sporting Dark Ages outfit as the anti-mutagenic armor in new colors, or the spectacular Spider-Man borrowing Tony Stark's radiation armor and rebranding it as his own for the Techno Wars line, complete with radiation containment weaponry and unit. These colors would have gone well with Iron Man 2, actually.
Armor up, Iron Man!
Now I know Iron Man has a lot of armors in his arsenal, but I wasn't expecting Robin Hood to have this many outfits. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, with Kevin Costner in the lead, was set up as one of 1991's summer's blockbusters. The movie was received well, and with a soundtrack featuring Bryan Adams and toys by Kenner, what could go wrong? For their spring offering of 1992, Kenner had cooked up a fresh batch of Robin Hood Prince of Thieves characters. These all-new figures will let kids create even more exciting battles for Robin Hood and his merry men. What was planned were a couple of variations on well-selling characters, I guess, with the likes of Flaming Arrow Robin Hood, who comes with a complete bow that really launches. He's sure to send a fiery message to his evil foes, and if that wasn't enough, he also comes with a battle staff. I actually like that the arrows have that flame-like color here, but Robin isn't done getting his wardrobe together. His combat outfit sees him armed with a mace that really fires and a powerful sword, ready to strike for justice, and a roomy comfy coat for when it gets cold. Azim would also get a battle version. With his gold scimitar and telescope, Battle Azim is prepared to aid his closest ally in his mission to fight for justice. But a couple new ones we would have gotten as well, a toy like the Celtic Barbarian, a powerful warrior who helps the evil sheriff of Nottingham in his war against Robin Hood. And this one comes with a battle shield and mace. And last but not least, King Richard, the proud ruler of England and a staunch ally of Robin Hood in his battles with the evil sheriff of Nottingham. That's right, we almost got a Sean Connery action figure in full king outfit and with a sword. I remember a time when he was Robin Hood.
In Robin and Mary.
Thanks to kit bashing, these figures were able to be created, the combining of old figures into a new one. This was definitely needed to deliver a movie line. Getting a line into production will usually take up to a year of planning, designing, tooling, so if you can take a shortcut to speed up the process, it's a straight arrow getting your prototypes ready in time for the next toy fair. And kit bash they did, using a variety of molds from the Superpowers line to create the characters from Nottingham. So yeah, just slap a new face on Green Arrow and repaint his bow, and you got your Robin Hood covered. For the Sheriff of Nottingham, they even repurposed the head sculpt from a Robocop foe. Sometimes just getting a new head sculpt was enough to create the character, with a repaint obviously. When we unrobe Friar Tuck, it looks like he deserted from the Gamorrean Guard to feast in Sherwood with some mead. The vehicles and playsets are pretty much just Ewok vehicles, like the Battle Wagon, Catapult, and Sherwood Forest is a redeco of the Ewok village, with some green added into it.
Han Solo is turned on the spit.
There was, however, one toy customizer that didn't scare away from any Celtic barbarians. He was keeping himself busy and made his own and more custom figures. These are done by Decadent Dave. He also used the kit bashing technique, using a variety of molds from the Superpowers line to create the characters. Thanks to kit bashing existing Kenner figures, he was able to recreate them by taking the Toy Fair catalog images as a reference. And here I am still waiting for somebody to customize some of these figures into a Men in Tights action figure line.
Very amusing.
We can definitely see one constant during the 90s. Most toy lines didn't survive the first wave, but if there's one toy line that got taken away from us too soon in the 90s, it's got to be Toxic Crusaders. Because who wouldn't want a big blobby dinosaur made entirely out of toxic waste? Well, I wasn't the only one. In the last couple of years, Toxic Crusaders toys are making a comeback. With Trick or Treat Studios taking on the figures again, Technodrome and Toys creating his own Paluto custom, and Ishmael creating a vinyl version of the unproduced giant monster designed for wave 1 of the toy line.
You don't have to be toxic to be popular.
It's big, it's greasy, it's disgusting. It's Paluto, Apocalypse Inc.'s humongous 10-inch tall, hideously deformed creature. Starring in the Toxic Crusaders TV show, this horrible blob sucks up everything in its path as it rolls around the ground on its oil-based body. Featuring motorized walking action with synchronized leg, arm, head, and jaw movement for realistic creature features. Snap-on Smogolian firepower, fuel factory backpack, oil spill shooter for really big messes, and water pollutant details. Even Toxie hates cleaning up after this guy. And Paluto oozes toxic waste as he walks and glows in the dark too. Batteries are not included. Now, the motorized walking feature isn't something we see in the customs like the ones by Technodrome alongside Roman toys or just an Ishmael, but we're happy to finally have a great display piece to have alongside our vintage collections. If you want to learn more about the unproduced Paludo toy, then check out Pixel Dance video with the Paludo toy designer Eddie Mosqueda. You can even see the prototype walk in this video. And it seems like LJN was also cleaning up for their 1985 Thundercats creature assortment, as our highly sought after Astral Moat monster initially had RSVP'd with a +1. Lizard, the forest monster, two large ferocious creatures who roam in the world of Thundercats and who are equally feared by both the mutants and the Thundercats. Each creature is movable and can strike different menacing poses, and for collectors out there, the Astral Moat is already going for a lot. This one would have also been up there, but the character didn't make it into the cartoon, so it was easy to cut for a release. A mixture of a lizard with a red and silver armored spiked back. There's some nice green shading on the prototype from the catalog as well. Now, this was not the first time the toy concept got cancelled, as it was also announced in the lineup for LJN's Dungeons & Dragons line monster assortment, alongside Dragon and Hook Horror. Only here, he was called Bullet, and sported a red skin tone with a yellow tail and blue shell sporting a single spike. Right out of the fantasy, three of the most monstrous monsters with special powers. I wouldn't have minded another monster for my collection, however, but it seems like Dungeons & Dragons had a lot of them to choose from. If we go back even further to 1983, back when Hook Horror and Dragon were still drawings waiting to go into the next phase of sculpting, they weren't thinking about bringing out Bullet, but Behir, an even more impressive looking terror. Now this toy would have needed a lot more tooling with all 12 of its arms and legs, but it would for sure have looked great battling your heroes. Then again, there's a few pictures floating around of what appears to be a kid-bashed good bronze dragon. The adventure continues as these wicked and beastly monsters strike horror in the hearts of anyone they encounter, but with the right combination of strength, stamina, dexterity, and other qualities, these fierce creatures can be overcome. Each has a unique articulated feature, capable of inflicting deadly blows upon adversaries. Our heroes will need to roll a 20 to ensure for a deadly blow if they want to defeat the next unproduced toy on the Dungeons & Dragons list, a Cyclops called Pulveri. Well, he's more of an orc high chief, part of the Battlemaster set. They had Battlematic action plus shield shooters, shields that turn into a weapon at the press of a secret action button. Pulveri's arsenal of weapons would have consisted of a sword and an axe with spider details, the same we find back on the shield and which would be able to shoot out. We'd also see it come back on the belt, and his helmet was probably also removable. With an eye that never blinks, this fierce leader of the orcs sets out to pulverize and destroy the elvish homelands in order to find new territory for his race. If you want to get your hands on a Pulveri, you can always go with the NECA Dungeons & Dragons subline they dubbed The Lost Wave, and which was announced as a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. These would feature Pulveri, the fatter version of Kellic, but also Valkynier, which we featured in an earlier episode of Toy History, and Scylla, all of which got cancelled back in the 80s, although Scylla did get a miniature release. Too bad the Dungeon Master quit the game after 2 years over at LJN. I wonder how many more monsters we would have gotten, and I really want to know if that Behir toy is real or not, because that looks freaking cool, that monster. Now for Star Wars, it didn't always have to be terror and death and monsters. Back in 1978, they set their goals to creating toys for the younger Star Wars fans, the Star Tots, and that's what they would have gotten. Only Kenner abandoned the idea for Star Tots. Based on their already popular 3 Tots line, the objective was simple: create Star Wars toys the youngest kid could play with. So they brought the characters like Luke, Leia, R2-D2, and C-3PO in a smiling 3-tot form. Many would follow if these were a success, and they would have taken the preschool market like Darth Vader took Alderaan. The figures would be accompanied by some vehicles like the Landspeeder and Luke's X-Wing fighter. Each could fit 2 other figures, but the idea was abandoned until we saw the Ewok family hut coming out for the Return of the Jedi, where Wicket the Ewok got most of the attention. Hitting the store shelves in 1984, this was basically a reworked playset from the 3 Tots line that came out back in 1975, but this time with Ewoks and a different color. You could have your own Ewok adventure, as they added a lookout, a hammock, traded in the car for a horse and carriage, and added some ladders and other decor to give it that Ewok touch. Now, it seems that the toy industry is always looking back in order to move forward, and sometimes a decade-old idea or sculpt can shine once again or finally come to light, and I think it's safe to say that a lot of these unproduced toys are just a passionate customizer, a way of becoming a reality. Be sure to subscribe for more toy history videos in which maybe we can discuss which unreleased characters you would like to see kid bashed based off of older action figures. Leave it in the comments down below, and if you're already down there, then please leave a like on the video. If you want to support the channel even more, you can always join us on Patreon or share this video with another collector friend of yours. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!